If you want to see more videos and interviews like this from influential people in tech, finance, and sports, subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the bell to be alerted. And go a step further and join the YouTube and membership area for early releases of videos like this. I'm out of here.
Everybody on something, cause we
It's your boy Crypto Blood, and welcome to another Kicking It session. Today I've got Rob Tibbins. Got a podcast, guys. I want you to check it out. Hunger for Knowledge. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin, crypto, criminal, political landscape of America and his podcast life. I think he's called into the show a couple times off the chain. What's going on, man? How are you this morning or today, afternoon, wherever everyone is at?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. So you've called into the show a few times, Rob.
Yeah.
Had really good conversations with you. And you're like, hey, man, I want to come on and do something like let's do a Kicking It session and, you know, get a feel for one another and then kind of go from there. So kind of tell the people about yourself. How long have you been doing the podcast thing? You got a number of like 40 something episodes under your belt. So you didn't just start it yesterday.
No, it's about a year and a half, almost 2 years. And we did I think we're up to almost 50 episodes, 49 I think we're at. So I was doing a bad version of the podcast on YouTube by myself, and
okay.
I play basketball a couple of times a week. Well, I was playing basketball a couple of times a week, and one of the guys I play basketball with, we started having conversations and talking, and I asked him to come on and have a conversation with me. And we kind of hit it off, and we played well off of each other, and then next thing you know, I was like, we should just make this into a podcast.
Yeah.
A regular weekly thing, or as much as we can, And so next thing you know, 49 episodes later, and we hit 1,000 downloads, which took a while, but we got there, and but we have a good time. He's my co-host, Will Beatty. He's really intelligent guy, well spoken. It amazes me some of his perspectives, and we just talk about a lot of different things. We talk about religion, a lot about racism. We've had try and focus on like empowering people, these kinds of things, because these are the kind of things I think we need to talk about.
Yeah, in America, man, I don't know if it's an American thing or what, but we're kind of cowardice when it comes to some of the tougher conversations and subjects that, we should have.
Yeah.
I know you kind of notice how we do on Off the Chain, man. I mean, we talk about any and everything.
Yeah, that's why I like it.
And I think that's important for cultures to develop and grow and understand one another, right? If I don't understand your point of view, I can't have empathy for you or sympathy for you and relate to you in any form or fashion. So it's great that you're doing that over there. I was checking out some of your topics, and I'm like, yeah, I like what he's doing there. So what state are you out of again?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
So you're in PA.
Yep.
It's a hot spot for the coronavirus.
Yeah.
And you're now currently in quarantine yourself.
Yeah.
Tell us what's going on, man.
It's kind of weird. I gotta actually go back a little bit. We were in Florida in December.
Mm-hmm.
And we're on vacation, so we're traveling home. I don't fly, and so we drive to Florida, and we're driving home, and I start coughing. I'm like, okay, just whatever. It's been a long trip. We're thousands of miles, whatever. I'm not feeling well. Get home. Next day, I'm just feeling like crap. Next thing you know, my wife's feeling like crap. I'm like, okay, what's going on? We just like, okay, we're sick.
Yep.
2 weeks later, still sick. And I'm like, man, and it was like backache, achiness, coughing, sore throat, like all the stuff they talk about. And this is after Christmas, beginning of January. Long story short, I didn't go back to work for 3 weeks after I came back.
About right.
And I was coughing for now I paint cars. I'm a automotive painter. So
okay.
I get some kind of respiratory thing. It takes me a little longer to recover because of, inhaling certain things and stuff, which is, not good for my health, but it is what it is. So it takes me a little longer to recover, but still I coughed for a solid month and a half,
Wow.
so, I don't know. I didn't get tested at that point. We weren't talking about the corona,
Right.
So I didn't get tested. My wife got sick. My son got sick. My daughter did not get sick, but she was staying away from us. I don't know. So do I know that I had it for sure then? Did I get tested? No, obviously it was December, but I'm kind of feeling like that's what it was, And we went to the doctor and he told us we had a viral infection. They couldn't figure out what it was,
Did you get tested for flu A and B?
Yeah, got tested for the flu, nothing.
Came back negative. Yeah.
Yeah, so did I have it? Who knows? You know what I mean? But it's a possibility.
Yeah.
So because we now know that it's been around a lot longer than we.
That's right.
So
yeah, my daughter, I think she got sick. She was the one that first got it that we knew, but back then we didn't know either. That it was going to be that, but it was in February, middle of February.
Yeah. So and then this past week on Monday, I was laid off for about a month. Went back to work on Monday, and my back started hurting. I was like, well, I haven't played basketball in a while. I haven't been doing anything, sitting around the house doing doing more non-labor things, trying to work on the podcast. My son's doing a gaming channel, so I'm helping him do all that. We're trying to do, set up things for that. I'm trying to learn how to use different software and stuff. So I'm like, okay, I have been sitting in a chair or on a sofa for a month. Now I'm actually doing paint. I painted 6 cars. Okay, I'm actually doing some labor here. Of course I'm going to be sore. Next day, still sore. Now I was coughing, and then Wednesday I was like, came home from work, fell asleep on the couch, woke up, and I was like, okay, I'm achy, same kind of thing. Achy, back hurt, coughing, sore throat, head hurt.
Does your nose burn?
No, I didn't have any of that.
Okay.
But this time, compared to last time, I'm also on vitamins this time. I wasn't on any vitamins before. I've been taking a lot of vitamin C, vitamin D. I've been taking, I don't know if you know about the chaga. I've been taking the chaga. So I've been on a lot of vitamins this time, which I think helped a lot. But this time the symptoms were, it's Sunday, and I feel pretty good, and all the symptoms it's weird as the day goes on, it gets worse. I don't know if I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean the crazy thing is, Rob, you get better, you're like, oh, okay, cool, I'm getting better, and then you go back and you get worse.
Well, that's what I'm hoping doesn't happen. So
yeah, I hope that doesn't happen to you either, man. So when you got sick back in December, January, did you have that up and down thing as well for 3 weeks, or it was just straight sick?
It's been a while, and back then you're not thinking about it, but I can't remember at the beginning. I mean, I feel like we pretty much got sick and we were just, sick for a while. It felt like it took forever, and it was. I mean, I've never been that sick in my life, and everybody talks about the flu and stuff, but my wife works in a nursing home, and I think back, how many people know that died from the flu? Or, how many people you get the flu? Not that many. I don't know anybody that's ever died.
I don't know anyone that's ever died from the flu.
So, all these things about the flu and this stuff, I don't worry about the flu. I've had the flu one time in the last, I want to say 10 years. I had it pretty bad, and it was the flu. I got tested, but I don't get vaccinated for the flu.
Me either.
I'm not into vaccinations. So I have, but like, will he, I ask everybody, hey, you got vaccinated for the flu? You get, how often have you had the flu? Nobody, very few people I ask have had it or had extreme cases of it, But
I didn't know that the numbers on the flu that they put out every year are projected numbers and not actual numbers. So it makes sense because they said the actual numbers is something like 15,000 people die from the flu every year. So I'm like, oh, that makes sense because that lines up with me not ever knowing anyone that's
Right.
died from the flu.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You got to question all the numbers, you know?
Yeah, and so, people are saying like, oh, the flu has killed, more people than the virus, COVID, and all of this, and not even knowing that they're comparing projected numbers with the flu versus hard count numbers with COVID, which of course are going to be not directly, completely, accurate. I think they're actually underreported because there are some people who have died at home that from COVID that aren't counted, so on and so forth. So you're right. It made me think about how with the CDC and how they, do the numbers with the flu, they actually do that on purpose so that it scares people to go get vaccinated with the flu.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
It's like that saying. You remember what was the saying you were using a week ago? Show me I forget what it was. The guy, show me the outcome, or I don't remember that saying you had posted. Something to do with like showing me the result of money and I'll show you.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was a Charlie Munger, I think. Charlie Munger, that's Warren Buffett's buddy. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty true. I mean, it's playing out right now.
Yep.
I mean, my wife works in a nursing home. And,
okay.
She was very lucky. They didn't have any cases till recently. Now, but what they're doing in Pennsylvania, I don't know if this is in every state. They force the nursing homes to take patients from the hospitals that are infected. Genius plan, And then
what?
Yes. Yep. That's how it is in Pennsylvania. So now also you have to remember this is, of course, the nursing home's going to do it because they're getting paid more to take these people in.
Right.
They're not paying my wife more, but they're paying the nursing home more.
Of course.
Of course. So they got about 2.5 weeks ago, they got somebody from one of the hospitals, shocker, we're up to about, including employees and residents, they're up to about 10 cases. And now I'm assuming that the probability that she brought it home and gave it to me is pretty high.
Yeah, absolutely, it's high. So
high.
that brings up another a whole nother topic, Rob, is the reinfection thing.
Oh,
and this is what
Yeah,
they're just not. People don't realize what we're dealing with. It's not. I'm not trying to scare people, and most time you're not gonna die from it. Most people aren't gonna die from it, but it is not. It's more than the flu, like you said. It's a 3-week, 4-week for my wife, 4-week, 4.5 week thing where she was down. She can't work. You can't work during that period being like that, right? So it's like on and off the chain over this past weekend. We talked about that. Like the economy is done.
Yes.
So why not just focus on the health of the nation? Trying to get back to work and thinking we're going to bounce back to this V-shaped recovery and go back to normal. Normal may not ever come back. We may get, close to it at some point, but that point, I think, is a year or so away.
The Spanish flu, 675,000 Americans died in that.
Yeah.
And that 195,000 in the second wave in 1 month died.
Wow.
Out of that 675,000.
I didn't know that.
So 28% of the deaths from the Spanish flu happened in the second wave in 1 month.
So, and it was probably because of people eagerness to get back out. Remember, I think there was a story about how in New York, I think they did the parade, right? After the Spanish,
They did a parade?
After the Spanish flu.
Oh, Spanish flu, yeah.
Yeah, Spanish flu. And it killed so many people.
Yes.
I
remember.
Yeah, so it's probably, what we're going to do.
I mean, did you see the video of the people in the bars in Wisconsin?
No, but I did see the videos of people in what state was that? Some state, and it was during the Mother's Day weekend. It was packed, man. No, in Colorado.
Well,
packed. They were in some restaurant. No, literally no one had a mask on.
I mean, it's I, they in Wisconsin the court ordered the shelter in order to end, and that the day it ended, every all these bars in Wisconsin filled up, shoulder to shoulder, and not one person has a mask on, and they're interviewing people about how they feel that the shelter in order is over. I mean, I, I don't understand. I have to have conversations with people why masks are important.
Shame on us, man. This is not 1950s or 40s where information doesn't travel with the like the light speed, right? You can access stuff online, internet. You can see videos of other countries. This is not 1940 or even earlier, right? Where ignorance, you don't know, information travels slowly. I don't know, man. It's the weirdest thing. I don't get it, man. I just
How much
don't
do you
get
think it has to do with the fact that our leadership refuses to wear masks?
Oh, a big part. Big part.
There's got to be a lot of misconception there. A lot of people thinking, hey, he's the president of the United States, and he's the vice president. He shows up at the Mayo Clinic without a mask on. Why do I have to wear a mask? He's obviously, it just doesn't make sense. Like I see all these other leaders in other countries masked up, wearing masks, concerned, and I want, and you just see
it's the hubris. Comments. It's the hubris of America.
Yeah.
And people talk about trying to politicize this the handling of this virus, and it's not a Republican Democrat thing, because to be honest with you, same thing would have happened if it was a Democrat in office.
Yeah, absolutely.
It may have even been worse, but the handling of it would have been no different, no better, probably no worse. It's America and our idea of this American exceptionalism, and we can't be affected.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, people should think about it this way, right? You see those charts with the deaths that are happening. One chart, I can't think of exactly how it works, but it's how many people have died last month, and it shows, we're exceeding the average of this time last year, right? But we're all sheltered in, and the things that normally cause death, car accidents, drunk drive, whatever.
Oh, excess deaths.
Yeah, excess death, right?
Yep.
Well, imagine, so all the other things except for Corona are down, the excess deaths. So imagine if we won the sheltered in. That's the question we really have to ask. How bad would it be? So yes, I understand people feel like their rights are being violated. I'm all about the rights, 100%. But at some point, we have to this is about other people's families. You have to take in consideration that I hate to think that I didn't wear a mask and I walked into a grocery store and I'm asymptomatic and I breathed out some kind of particle or viral load that went into the air, and somebody breathed that in that didn't have a mask. They sent it home to their family and heaven forbid they killed the grandparents or something, or infected one of their children with some underlying symptom. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. I mean, I think a lot of empathy, America lacks a lot of empathy. There's a lack of empathy in America that's, I have a hard time understanding. So
are you from here? What's your background?
Yeah, I'm from here.
Okay, you're from here. Okay. Yeah, man. I talk to people all the time that aren't, either not born here originally, come here, later in their lives, and they just say Americans, we have a very jaded view of reality, a very like you said, we don't have any empathy or sympathy for people across the globe. And like I said, it's not an American thing. This is a global issue that's causing disruptions globally. I mean, look at Brazil, man. You got the president of Brazil. He's just an idiot, like, none other. And it's out of control. The virus is spreading. They're like the second hottest hot zone now in the world.
Yeah.
second to the United States.
Think about the third world countries. Think about places like Ecuador and places like that are just that probably aren't even reporting what's going on.
No,
We don't even know what the numbers are in countries.
you know that with Brazil being the second hotspot, you know the numbers are still underreported because he doesn't want to look bad.
Absolutely.
Right. So with his political agenda, he's still like the worst place. So yeah, I agree. They're probably underreporting for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm with you. I think the economy is toast. I think at some point, how you get everybody to come together when you just politicize, when we have this political things going on and everybody's politicizing wearing a mask, let alone everything else, and how we get it under control. I just don't see this going away for, at a minimum of 2 years, and
yeah, that's how I feel as well.
How do you, I understand people wanting to get back to work. I understand that a bad economy is also bad for people,
Sure.
People can die from these things,
Sure.
But if we can't even get people to understand that you have to wear masks, it's just kind of ironic. The people that don't want to wear masks are also the people out there protesting to go back to work
without a mask.
So
I can't exactly like if at least you protested with some type of responsibility, I would be fine. I'm like, okay, they're gonna be responsible when we open back up.
Right, exactly. So it's a hard sell for me to say, hey, I want to open back up. It's against you, violating my rights to work. I'm losing all the money I saved over the years. I get all that, but I'm gonna go protest and take guns with us to the Capitol, and I'm not going to social distance, and I'm not going to wear masks, and then I'm going to sit there and tell you that I should be allowed to go back to work. I'm like, I understand what you're saying, but like, if you want to get behind something, do it appropriately, because then you'd have people behind you. If you had social distance going on during the protest, you had masks going on during the protest, you could have nobody disagreeing with you. You'd have everybody in your corner.
Agreed.
I mean, I work at, I can't even get all the people there to wear masks. And we have 8 people that work there.
Wow.
So, I mean,
So what are they saying? Like, why are they not wearing a mask? Do they think it's a fake virus, it doesn't exist, or what?
I think, there's an older gentleman there. He's been wearing a mask for, I've been tracking this since, I know you have been too, but I've been tracking this since like January, late January.
Mm-hmm.
So I was telling them, like, listen, fellas, I was like, I don't know what's going on in China, but when I see empty streets and I see like houses getting welded shut,
come on, man,
something's going on. Something's going on, fellas.
Yeah.
And
did you hear the new data about they've got cell phone data from over Wuhan? I think in October, it went dark.
Yeah.
Something happened in October, man, where they pretty much shut that area down.
Yeah.
And that would line up with an outbreak in November, December.
Yes. There's no way it started in November and became what it was. It had to start before that.
Yep.
I mean, you can't have empty streets and people scared out of their wits. The fear factor is for sure. So, those people are going to start, not going to work, and all these things are going to happen. And it's not going to happen in one day.
Right.
This word travels fast, but it doesn't travel that fast.
Right, because the virus doesn't travel that fast, right? It's an incubation period, and it takes weeks, and I agree.
So, I mean, the guys at work, the manager, he's one that refuses, he just, no matter how many points, observations, counterpoints to whatever he says, he just doesn't want to wear one. And he's the one dealing with the customers every day. And I don't know what to tell him. I think some of it is he's feeling the pressure. He has a business, like an ice cream shop and stuff, and that's to get having a toll put on it. They're pretty much shut down. So he's losing that business, and he's feeling the stress, I think, in general. People got kids at home. They're just, I don't think sometimes people are thinking straight. I think the weight of everything may be skewing their mindset. And I think it's that's part of it for sure. But I also think it's the education system of this country because we don't promote we don't promote logical thinking and common
Right.
sense in high school. And like, it just doesn't make any sense otherwise. We don't even educate, we don't do any finance education in school, or when I was in school, we didn't, I'm 43. So when I was in high school, I didn't do any of that. So, I think I don't even know I don't even know what to say when you tell somebody and show somebody and they still don't understand it.
Yeah, so I agree. And there's no critical thinking anymore. And I don't know what happened to it. I'm not sure, but it just makes me feel like there's no hope. If we can't critically think as a group, as a nation, then we're just gonna fall in line and go with whatever they're telling us,
Yeah.
right? And that goes for finance and
Yep,
and and,
absolutely.
the, and our financial structure and how Trump has taken over the Federal Reserve through the Treasury. And people were thinking that this is some move to get rid of the Fed. No, this is just a move, I think, so that he can have an unlimited printing press,
Yeah.
and to just print over everything and try to keep this thing afloat. And that brings me to my next question, like as far as crypto and Bitcoin, I'm starting to think that more and more I don't see the mass adoption going to come in the way that I used to think, simply because I don't think people are using their brain. If they can't figure out to wear a mask, how would they figure out crypto or Bitcoin as an alternative money is going to be better for them? I think they're gonna just bite the bait of whatever digital currency that the Federal Reserve puts out in a couple of years.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think that's the road we're going to come to is the whatever the government puts out as far as digital currency. Um, I talk to people about crypto and about Bitcoin, and actually was making some traction. And then we had the big decline. We had the pullback, and so all those people that I kind of almost got their foot in the door actually, were like, okay, yeah, we see where this is. We thought this was had potential, but then you know, in the reality is if you show somebody where they can make a lot of money, they don't even really care about how the technology or
They
understand.
don't.
So that's but when you show them what you're like what I was doing at the time, and I was doing trading.
Mm-hmm.
Um, by any means, do I understand technical trading? No. Um, you know, but I was basically doing a simple version of trading that was working for me. And when you're in a bull market, everybody can be a trader.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
which I think we all learned.
Yep.
So, but to show them, hey, I'm making, this kind of money. And at some point, for my family, I was like, my family members, I was like, I felt kind of not guilty, but I guess a little guilty in a way. Like if I don't say something and, Bitcoin goes to $200,000 and I could have
Right.
got them in at,
Why didn't you tell me about this, Rob?
yeah,
You know?
exactly. So then I got, I just had them all. Actually, what I did was I gave everybody some crypto for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did. I gave them a wallet and said,
When was this? 2000 what?
um, this would have been 2000. This was like in the middle of, I would say, I guess it was like 2017,
Okay.
2016.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly, but I gave them some crypto. I gave them Pillar actually. So I gave them Pillar for Christmas and explained, you know, what it was
Mm-hmm.
and, what was happening in the price and all these things and what
Mm-hmm.
I was doing. So like to me, this was kind of like, okay, they're getting something for free,
Yep.
and now I've intrigue them, okay, and I say, listen, this is what I did. This is where I bought it. This is how much it's worth. You guys can do what you want with it. If you want me to sell it for you, I'll sell it for you. If you want to keep it and hold on to it for 20 years, I don't care. And then next thing you know, my brother starts watching the price, right? They download the app to watch the price of pillow. Mm-hmm. So at this point, pillow was going up. Well, now all of a sudden their pillow, you know, the amount of pillow they got is worth $200, and when I bought it, it was worth, you know, $50. You know what I mean? So now all of a sudden, hey, you know, if I give you some money, could I invest?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, all right. I was like, but I was like, I never did this before. I never invested before. So I invested for them. And then we hit the bear market, you know, they pretty much, you know, I had them put in $50 each. It wasn't a lot of money. So their $50 went down to, you know, $5.
Yep.
So, and then, you know, they lost interest, you know, and then to continue to talk about it, they don't want to hear it.
It's like a catch-22 though, Rob. Like you said, the only way you can really get people that don't know anything about crypto or anything new, the easiest way to grasp them or grab them and their attention is to put some type of monetary incentive behind it.
Yeah.
Right? But it's a double-edged sword because when they lose the money, then they're never going to come back.
Yeah.
Or it's going to take even longer than if you could have somehow, and it's hard, but somehow educated them on, okay, this is what fake money is. This is the Federal Reserve. They print money. They lend it to the Treasury, blah, 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 blah. You're losing money every day from inflation. People don't want to hear all that. But if they would listen to that, then they would be in it for the long run, I think, in this crypto thing.
But for the same reason they don't understand crypto, they don't even understand what you just said.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
So it's hard to explain even. You know, they know, okay, out of my paycheck, I invested, you know, whatever on my paycheck went into my 401k. That's about all they know about when it comes to investing. So, you know, to explain economics, and I am by no means, you know, economist by any sort, but to just trying to pass on the small amount of knowledge I do know is like pulling teeth. So now when you talk about how much money they're stealing through the bailouts and all these things, and people are just like jumping for joy because they got $1,200 bribe, and they don't understand that when taxman comes this year, they're going to have to pay that $1,200 bribe back.
Nope, they don't understand that, man.
You know, like trying to have these conversations with people, they think you're crazy.
Yep.
You know, so then when you're trying to say, okay, so they're bribing you with $1,200 so they can go steal trillions.
That's right.
You know,
that's right.
You know, and the last bailout, Mike Maloney posted a stat. I think he said that the last bailout will cost each taxpayer $11,000. So I mean, that's a number. It's a real number, and I don't like if people can't get angry over that. I don't, and the new bailout. I mean, the new bailout they're talking about. They're
$3 trillion.
Yeah, and that one of those they're trying to. Part of that bailout, they want to bail out the lobbyists.
Yep.
Like, come on, people, the lobbyists.
But no one's mad. But instead, Rob, what are we doing? Marching about having to stay home, and marching about not wearing a mask. We should be marching to our capitals about this nonsense, bro.
Exactly.
About this, it just makes no sense. And again, it's not a political thing because it's going on both sides of the field or the aisle. Democrats may be doing a little bit worse. I don't like them more, but Republicans are going to. It takes two to tango, man. Right? So at some point, this $3 trillion bill, it's going to get through. It's just going to be a couple compromises that the Democrats make.
Yeah.
And, you know, let the Republicans get a couple things in there and finagle a couple of things, and boom, they're going to pass it through. And like you said, it's going to cost the American taxpayer $11,000 a piece. All the people, you know, all the lobbyists and their groups get paid off, and you know, pockets line, and we get absolutely really nothing. Another $1,200.
Yeah. Well, we're assuming there's going to be some kind of stimulus. I mean, I can't imagine they're not gonna. At some point, you'd think there'd be some kind of UBI payment or something. I mean, there's countries
Yep,
all over
it's
the world
coming.
giving UBI payments to the people, and I still hear in PA there's people that aren't even getting their unemployment.
Same here. Hearing
So,
that in Michigan as well.
okay, you are too.
Yep.
So I
They're
don't
so
even
back. They're
understand
so
that.
backlogged. So
How
many
how
people.
can how can that even? I mean, but we gave the banks they got their money the second that bill was signed.
Yep.
So, I mean, at some point, how do we not, look at the one thing I do on the podcast is I have a little. Will has his own. We has his own little section where he does his own little bits that are small, and I do mine. It's called Actions Speak Louder Than Words.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my whole point with that. Is
Mm-hmm.
actions of the politicians speak louder than the words. They're going to tell you what you want to hear, but you have to
Right.
look what they do.
Right.
And this is a perfect example of that. They're taking the money the second they sign that, and you're waiting on your money. There's some people that haven't got their stimulus checks yet. So, and I look at these companies, one thing I do agree with all these closings is why are Lowe's and places like this still open, and we got
Not
all
the
the
mom and pops.
mom and pop places closed. I was reading an article that they were saying a lot of the money that people got in stimulus checks they've already spent. Well, so where are they spending it? They're spending it at
Big box.
the big box companies.
Yep.
So even when the chances of the small business get to open again, there's going to be no money left for them to get to receive.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I don't like how they close down this mom and pop stores
Yeah.
and allow the big box. I don't agree with that, man.
And then you got these small business loans. The banks the banks got $10 billion in fees to process these loans. We got to, at some point, we got to kind of stand up
But again, no one's the people that are mad. First of all, it's a very small segment of America that's mad and doing the marching and stuff. That's first. They overblow that too, in the media. And then secondly, they're marching for the wrong thing, man. Like I said, they're marching for the wrong thing. They need to be marching against this nonsense that's going on here in America.
Did you see Justin's son got a $2 million grant from Trump?
No.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know exactly why.
Justin's son,
I'll send you the
founder
article.
of Tron,
Yes.
got a $2 million grant from Trump.
And they're calling for him to pay it back.
Did he get it through like the whole COVID thing or?
Yeah, through the COVID thing, the payroll protection thing.
Oh, okay, I got you. I
Payroll.
thought I'm like Trump doesn't like crypto, so I was like trying to
through the
figure
payroll
out.
protection.
But
But
I see what
still
you're
even.
saying.
But
I see
still
what you're
even.
saying. Yeah.
I mean, why is I don't. I mean,
Doesn't shock me from Mr. Sun. That doesn't shock me at all for him to do that.
No, but I mean, we have to empower ourselves. And if at some point, if you refuse to do it, you kind of get the government you picked. You kind of the government.
We are to blame. We are to blame at the end of the day. It's our fault, man. It's because we're not waking up, man. We're not thinking about what's going on out here. We're just living day to day.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I hope, and I think after this is all over, we're gonna have our chance as the public and it's gonna be up to us to take advantage of it. There's gonna be we're gonna have to start manufacturing things here.
That's the one good thing I think out of this whole situation, right?
So we're gonna have a chance to kind of take back a little power as the worker. Yeah. And we need to take full advantage of that. Yeah. So when that happens, hopefully sooner than later, and we're not to the point where, hopefully sooner than later, and that we take advantage of that and recognize that this is our opportunity. And that's kind of what I try to promote, on the podcast. And it's just, I see you're not going to get anything from China. Getting things from China is over. So, I mean, they're having their own issues with the corona. I saw they already locked down a whole other city.
Harbin is locked down. They're starting to do, they're trying to test 11 million people in a week in Wuhan.
Yeah. So
why are you trying to do that? You know why? Because the outbreak is still there, and it's probably the second wave.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're trying to get a hold of it.
Yeah, nothing to see here. Just 11 people getting tested. Move on. No worries. I mean.
Oh, man. That's the one thing I will say. I like that Trump defunded the WHO. That was a good move, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for that. Obviously, they're in the pocket of China. I mean, that's obvious. But at the same point, when we're talking about defunding people, if me and you, like, I don't know how you were paying attention to this, but in January, I'm on my phone on Twitter paying attention to what's going on in China. So if I'm on my phone before I go to bed to go to sleep for work the next day, and I see what's going on in China, why? And then I see escalation through the European countries.
Yep.
Why do we take so long to act is my question. And people should be asking this question.
I've thought. Go say that again.
People should be asking this question.
People should be, and I have, and I run through different scenarios. I'm like, maybe there's some deep state agenda, meaning they hid or delayed information to Trump.
Maybe
that could be one scenario. Because if you looked at his responses to this, it was in a way where literally he was either told that it was not a big deal or not told enough information to where he was like, it's going to go away tomorrow. It's going to disappear. We only got 15. He's not a pathologist or, epidemiologist. So, there's a communication link there between his people and him that something happened, man.
So then you got to question who's in charge.
Right.
For real.
Yep.
Because you got Fauci, who has connections left and right to, all kinds of different things. Yeah. And, there's enough. I mean, there's articles in Newsweek. There's mainstream articles about the connection he has to the Wuhan lab. So now you got the doctor in charge of all this mess that has connections to the lab. So now you still got to start. I mean, I just question it all. And the timing,
Timing is weird, man. I'm not going to lie.
Weird.
Because we're going to be having mail-in ballots for this election.
That's a little iffy to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not.
I swear, bro, Rob, if Joe Biden gets elected, man,
Joe Biden,
I may have to leave this country.
He's gonna win.
That is not, dude. If we don't wake up at that point, I don't know what to tell you, man.
I mean, you have to look at it through this country as divisionary, because the last thing they want in this country is 330 million people to come together as one. So it's easier to control half of us or a quarter of us, or keep us constantly arguing, bickering over mass, and they can control the narrative so much easier, in my opinion. So look how divisive Trump is. Just from every scenario, people argue about, look at the disinfectant thing. Like, can you believe there's actual people that did that? Like, they misinterpreted what it said. But
they misinterpret because the media helped them misinterpret. Yes. Like, the media was saying that he said this, and I had to go back and listen to it. I'm like, no, that's not what he said. He was asking them, he was looking to the right, asking them to look into doing X, Y, Z. But
then you got people that can't comprehend that. And then there was calls to the CDC, or not to the CDC, but to the poison. They did not a study, but they kept track of the calls to the poison hotline or whatever that is. And there was people that actually tried that. So it's just like he's got to be. I don't think like what you said. He wasn't saying that, but he should be more careful of what he says.
Oh, absolutely. He shouldn't have. He shouldn't have
You
asked the
know,
question in public.
exactly,
That's something you
exactly.
ask behind the scene.
Yeah,
No, I agree totally. Like that definitely shouldn't have been asked. But we're so polarized in America that
yep,
it's extremes. You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah,
like it's crazy, man.
yeah. I'm concerned. I'm concerned about the future of this country,
Me
and
too.
people call me. I've been told to leave this country, and because of my views of things, because I'm not a left person. I'm not a right person. I just want the truth, and I want I want to get to what's important. And there's truths on both sides, and there's lies on both sides. So, let's get to the important stuff and let's help people that need help because there's parts of this country that, are third world countries, that can be compared to some of those countries. And those people are in extreme poverty and need help. If we're going to make America great again, let's start in America and truly make it great again because, you know, these in Pennsylvania, I see these people talking about how broke they are. Well, you think the people like that are homeless and the homeless veterans that come back and from these wars and stuff are sitting on the sidewalk watching people protest about their rights being violated and scratching their head like, where's the protest about me fighting for your rights? And now I'm at home. I'm back in the country I fought for, and am a homeless. And they're homeless because of different reasons. And I just don't, I think we just so focused on the wrong things. We got to get that realigned.
Yeah, we have to get to what you're saying. Have a moderate view and approach to this politics game.
Yeah,
You can't be a full Republican. You can't be a full Democrat because that's gonna get us nowhere. That has gotten us nowhere in the last 30, 40, 50 years.
yeah. Well, it's got us to this point where we're at now.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it's gotten us, and we can see what's going on. I mean, if this was truly the strongest economy ever, could we not survive 5 months? I mean,
Man, these companies couldn't. They were crying for bailouts a month
right,
in. That just
right,
lets you know.
right.
Americans, we were on our deathbeds pretty much a month in.
Yeah,
No savings and nothing.
right.
So
So
it's all an illusion. And like I said, I hope the silver lining out of this, Rob, is that now we know the emperor has no clothes.
right.
Now we know we're not as robust and not as wealthy of a country as maybe we thought we were.
And the sooner we identify that, that's when we can start fixing it.
Exactly.
You gotta start identifying the problems, and if you're unwilling and won't do that, that's a real problem.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
if we can start identifying those problems, we can start recovering quickly. I think we
Agreed.
absolutely could,
Agreed.
and we could bring all the manufacturing back and all these things back, and we could be full gung ho. But we gotta realize what the problems are and stop politicizing. I mean, we're politicizing mask wearing. That's where we're at in this country. I mean,
Very sad.
that's how absurd all this mess is. So I mean, I just hope that my hope for my children, that's what we should be doing this for, is the hope for our children's future. Because that in reality is what we're talking about. I'm 43 years old. I got limited labor time left, money making
Mm-hmm.
time left. So it's really about them. So I mean, I hope that we see some progress here. I mean, I don't know. I'm positive, but it's a limited positivity until I see something happen here in the near future.
Same here, man. Same here, Rob. Rob from the Hunger for Knowledge podcast. I want you guys to get over there. I'll leave a link in the description of this video to his podcast on podbean.com. Any last words, bro? Great
Um,
conversation today.
No, I just want to thank you though for having me on, and just keep doing what you're doing because I think what you're doing is very important, and you're educating people, and and you're doing it from a view of what's important. You're doing it not from a left or a right view, but you're doing it for what we need, for what I was talking about. So,
Yeah.
and but thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Anywhere else people can find you other than
Uh,
the hunger for knowledge?
I do. I'm I'm starting to get the YouTube thing going.
Okay.
Hunger for knowledge is in there. We're changing over from audio. We're going to change over to video.
Yeah, I think you guys should,
Yeah, I think that
because you can always go
yeah,
backwards,
exactly.
right?
And with the podcast, you can have the video, or if you upgrade, you can do video.
Okay.
So I'm going to upgrade the podcast to video. We're going to start doing everything in video. So that'll make the YouTube channel more important because right now it doesn't doing the audio on podcast audio on YouTube just doesn't do catch on very well.
Right.
So in the Twitter, I'm not great with the Twitter. I try and do it, but I'm not great with the Twitter. So I'm trying slowly but surely. I'm learning all this stuff, and but you know,
Hey, this is the
wanna,
new world we live in. So,
yeah,
podcasts, getting that information out, raw, uncut, without any real agenda. That's what we need more of. So, I want you guys to check out Hunger for Knowledge when you get a chance. Rob Tibbins, again, thank you for joining me on another Kicking It session. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. And click that bell to receive more interviews like this. I'm out of here, people. Holla.
Working with monkeys is about as far as you should go.